When there's an injustice against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down on them, if they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Pop Culture Justice. And oh my gosh, Kim, I did it. I'm on time. I'm on time for once. I'm proud of it. It happens from time to time. It does. Welcome, Kim. How are you doing, Kim?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me today. What a topic we have today to go over, though.
It is. I was just saying right as we went live, just what my algorithm needed. Me going against YouTube's golden boy, MrBeast. And I highly think that these videos are getting suppressed. Now, the truth is, though, his biggest detractor, this guy, Dogpack, is killing it. He is being able to get past the algorithm, and his last video got 11 million, and in less than a day, he's already almost more than half of that. So this is a trending thing that is only getting bigger and bigger, and there's a lot to break down. And this is important because even if you don't know who MrBeast is, you need to know about this because there's so many other things that are involved in this. Corruption, cover-up, I think, big tech, suppressing and supporting him because he makes so much revenue. And for those of you who aren't aware, or don't really follow, or don't know who MrBeast is, he is the biggest YouTube channel, the biggest, and most children online are obsessed with him, love him, watch his videos like crazy. My own son included. I've already had some interesting debates with my own kid who is defending MrBeast, which I'm proud of. He's not rushing like, how do you know these people work for him and all? Because these kids are grown up to, really love and adore this guy for all the charitable and good stuff he gives back. But as a creator, as a producer, I've always sensed something was off. Look, to be fair, as is most television, Kim, there's a lot of cover-ups and crazy reality show stuff that's crazy. I was on Wipeout. I know a thing or two about how shady these shows can be. However, MrBeast lifts himself up in a separate way. He's very successful, alleged billionaire. And because so many kids are looking up to him because of the way he presents himself, I think it's incredibly important we do look at him a little bit more closely and demand the same type of accountability that we've done with so many others. But sadly, because he's so popular, because so many big influencers don't want to get burned or, forgotten because of MrBeast, who can lift them up and help them tremendously, it is very quiet out there by all the big players who are trying to actually elevate this story and continue it. So I think it's imperative we talk about it. I don't know if I'm going to make a shorter video. This may be a full discussion where we get down to what's actually happening so you can be alerted. What have we learned so far? What are the accusations? What are the latest from last night? And everything else that has come forward, and why MrBeast is a massive problem for not only YouTube, but Amazon. And I think most parents out there need to double check and really look into, do you want to support this man currently in the current phase that he's in and allow the kids to keep being swindled and tricked, I think, by him, and also creating this idea of like, subscribe, I need prizes, you need this, I need a Tesla, I need this, we can gather this. There's a disgusting type of quality to what you're going to learn to what MrBeast has done that I think has created his own type. It's inside of him. It's the YouTube algorithm personified, Kim, and it's scary, it's frightening, and it's disgusting. What do you think? Do you agree? Are you worried about this?
I am. I have concerns when it comes to I guess, I don't think it's controversial at all to say this, but it feels like there are a lot of kids right now watching his content that are, in my opinion, being basically G-worded to gamble. It's being so encouraged that they start looking into gambling as a more normalized thing. And there's a lot with psychology that goes with that I find to be very concerning. And I also have a lot of questions about just the way he's treated people. His almost just, it seems just he seems so void of empathy. It's very concerning. And it looks like he's really got behavioral psychology figured out with kids and knows exactly how to zero in on those things based on what I'm seeing. All those things together, very, very dangerous formula.
100%. There's a lot to unpack on this, and I'm getting the links out so people know we're live because we are a little bit later than usual. But I want to break down how this all started. So there are so many topics regarding this, Kim. It was interesting because it's been out in the news for a while. I used our ChatGPT to sort of break down, give me the brief overview of all of these biggest controversies and things. And I was pleasantly surprised how accurate it was. It really is going to give you a rundown of all of the broad sort of generalizations and accusations. So Mr. Beast, very popular persona. Allegations of exploitation, uses of prizes as marketing tools, claiming that his large giveaways and challenges are primarily designed to drive views and revenue rather than actually charitable intentions. Emotional manipulation, criticisms that participants in his videos are exploited emotionally for entertainment value, management and working conditions, work staff, alleged allegations of poor working conditions, inadequate compensation for those involved in his projects. And some could say, yeah, but Andy, it's whatever. No, this man makes way too much money to be paying the pennies that he's paying these creators that are doing the work for him. It's unexcusable. And anybody's out there like, whatever, shame on you. People who are helping him write should be paid fairly, just like any other popular network show. He's making more than network TV shows, and he's paying them less than independent productions. It is shameful and disgusting what he's done. High pressure stress, reports of high pressure work environments, unrealistic expectations placed on his teams, impact on charitable donations. He claims to be Mr. Charity, giving to this Team C's, Team Trees. Debates are now ongoing as to whether his charitable acts actually have meaningful long-term impact, if they're more about spectacle. Also, are they helping his other partners? There's rumors in places that Coca-Cola side companies are teaming up with MrBeast to clean up the seas so they can help to try to make themselves and MrBeast look better. What's actually happening are the questions we need to ask. Transparency, concerns regarding the transparency of how donated funds are used and reported. This is something we challenge anybody with. Meghan and Harry, I've been all over it. This should be even higher on MrBeast given the amounts of money that are coming in. Criticism of public stunts, instances where his elaborate stunts or challenges have raised safety concerns for participants and public. Criticisms regarding the environmental impact of some of his large-scale projects. He claims to be Mr. Environment, but dude has a high footprint on stuff he's doing. Mismanagement of public perception, handling of criticism, examples of how MrBeast has addressed or failed to address criticism publicly, contrary actions, cases where his actions or statements have seemed inconsistent with his charitable image, legal and ethical concerns, legal issues, disputes related to his videos and business practices, ethical dilemmas related to nature of his content, impact on viewers and participant. So look, this is just scratching the surface to say of all the things that are out there. And we're going to go through and give you sort of a recap and play some of these latest videos to really show you the extent of how bad this is. And it's not just us. There are several people out there. Shout out to Rosanna Pizzino, who was one of the earlier ones who did it. She was on some of his Beast YouTube collaborator videos where he brings in the biggest of online. And she was one of the first people to call out the fact that it was, in her opinion, rigged. She won, but he threw her out because he wanted, I don't know, some other big YouTuber to win instead. And so they pretty much cheated and used an excuse to push her out when the winner did the same thing she did. And there's countless examples of this where they claim that nothing's rigged, nothing's fake, but these high-stake games where a lot of money or notoriety or things are on the line, and he's just willy-nilly doing what he did. Kim, I remember quiz show rules way back in the day, guys. It became a movie. I think it was 1994. Robert Redford did with Ray Fiennes. It's a great film to check out. But the quiz show rules were instigated decades ago to establish the fact that you can't just do willy-nilly game shows and give stuff away like at random. It can't be corrupt. Jeff Probst has talked about the rules on Survivor, how strict they are, how many departments they have to hire to ensure that obstacles are created so they're always equal and that everything is treated fairly. So there can't be lawsuits at the end of the day and people debating, was this fair or was this not? And it doesn't sound like MrBeast in his rise to fame. And I can understand to an extent why maybe in the early days he wasn't as buttoned up as he should be. But at this point, when he's a billionaire working with Amazon, making their most expensive game show ever, we need to talk. We need to establish why isn't he using professionals? And in fact, it's already starting to come in through the industry now. This isn't just something that's quietly happening. I want to share a Puck newsletter. Now, Puck is pretty on top of things behind the scenes. This is like an insider email you get when you pay for it and you get sort of looped in. And even he's now, Matthew over here at Puck, was breaking in. What's actually happening here? Well, Amazon paid him nearly $100 million to air Beast Games, a reality competition produced by and starring the world's most popular YouTuber, business 26-year-old prankster philanthropist who has never produced anything outside of YouTube. Jimmy Donaldson's his real name. negotiated total control of the project. And when he was presented with a list of established unscripted production companies for which to collaborate, I'm told he passed, choosing instead to surround himself with his own people. Now Amazon has been dragged into an unpleasant situation after local Vegas website and the Times reported on hospitalizations, dangerous conditions, and a lack of food and water at a preliminary contestant screening that drew more than 2,000 people to the Nevada area last month. I won't get into the details, but it sounds bad. Sources close to Team Beast, which have hired crisis PR veteran, just so you get it serious, they're rather than paying their crew and doing the things properly, they've now paid for a crisis PR veteran to help water down the complaints and say that they came from people who didn't make the cut. If anything, they argue there were very few injuries. It was local staff hired there who screwed up the managing, all pushing the blame elsewhere. Producers have reached out to everyone involved and even paid them $1,000 for trouble. Large crowd reality games are difficult, as evidenced by those abused in Netflix. Netflix was accused of this kind of stuff as well in their real life Squid Games, which Jimmy did first, mind you. Interesting how he actually has now become Squid Games in a way. We're going to get there. But the video, the Vegas didn't even get huge numbers. MrBeast young fans don't care what the Times writes, especially if there's a $5 million cash prize involved. And that's the problem. Amazon, YouTube know this. It doesn't matter. Do people really care about all this? There's so much money in this from his YouTube, his chocolate business. Digital content craves a spotlight, but will this actually work off? Will Amazon be able to be this thing? Anyway, this is where it's all in. Is it going to happen? Will Amazon actually do what's right here and step in and be like, this isn't how it's supposed to go? This isn't YouTube, dude. You need to actually be better buttoned up, and this isn't okay. Or are they going to be so distracted by the potential views of the YouTube audience and all the kids coming over that they're going to bat a blind eye and let this guy continue to terrorize and abuse people and contestants for the gain of maybe I'll win some money? That is the latest big update of where things are. And yes, there was a Times article. I have that here too. Hold on, guys. It's right here. Willing to die for MrBeast and 5 million. It is a shocking New York Times article that really breaks down all these contestants that were there, how they were exploited, Kim, you were watching some of the things that Rosanna clarified. Do you want to share some of the more shocking things you learned from this piece?
I think there were some of the things that she said in her video where she spoke about it. Things like people were denied their medication. Things like insulin were delayed, and that is just not acceptable and incredibly dangerous. There was also some stuff about underwear that was really weird. Like that they were given their clothing at a lot of times, but then they wouldn't be given their clothing in what I would consider to be a reasonable amount of time. And also, unfortunately, with women who were
the time of the month
going through their cycle and they needed other things to be able to manage that. And they basically were like, well, it's not an emergency. And they laughed at the women. But at the same time, it's like, actually, yeah, in some cases, it is. It 100%
you can't
is.
Go have exactly that type of underwear just sitting there. It can cause serious infections, correct?
Yeah, there's a number of things that can go wrong, and it is incredibly serious. And I don't think that anyone having basic human needs and asking for things that should be bare minimum and then being made to feel bad or being embarrassed about it or being laughed at about it, that's gross. That's disgusting.
100%. And that brings us into the latest accusations that came in from a former employee. And this was a pretty good rundown of just, you'll be able to see the emotion, the abuse. Like, I think this guy suffered PTSD. This is a former employee. Now, let me scale back a little bit more for those that don't know. This channel, Dogpack 404, worked for MrBeast. Not that long, but still worked for them. And it just, the whole experience left a bad taste. MrBeast's team has been out there trying to deflate and discredit this guy. But I got to be honest, the presentations he's putting together are pretty damning. These aren't just like little, oh, I'm bitter because of this or that. He's dropping receipts. He's showing pieces of videos. And MrBeast has not tried to like downplay some of the involvements, but then it completely ignore the bigger allegations that Dogpack has put out there. I got to say, very eloquently, this isn't just some like little weird fake cancellation thing. There's a lot of stuff here, and it's big, broader accusations about the whole scope of his business, his lifestyle, his narcissistic, sociopathic style, his obsession with fame, his using of people. It's a lot, but it's also lotteries that are illegal, trying to swindle kids into buying his chocolate bar and subscribe to his channel. And maybe make sure you subscribe, because if you see me in real life, I might pay you $1,000. It's all these promises of creating this type of content that many, let's be fair, Kim, there have been a lot of ballsy YouTubers who have called this out from the beginning and said, MrBeast has destroyed YouTube. He's made it less about fun and all about the money, the views, the algorithm. And it's true. I can't deny that he has now created this sort of weird style on YouTube where it's all about style and cars and money and bigger and better and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's not good. It's not good for our kids. It's not actually that good of content. It's working at the lowest common denominators, and he's exploiting them, and from his thumbnails to everything. And he's become so cocky about it that it is kind of scary, because it is becoming what a huge generation is going to grow up to. Assume this is what content and this is what's okay. But I want you to watch this latest from Dogpack, where we got this. I'll let you handle.
I've wanted to say a lot of this for a long time.
Former MrBeast contestant Jake Weddle breaks his silence after psychological and physical damage he received during an unaired MrBeast challenge.
It was one of those solitary confinement videos that got a lot of media attention because everyone saw the premise and thought, what? You shouldn't do that. And people don't know that was the second attempt. The first attempt was on me. And it didn't go well.
Jake Weddle shared with Dogpark 404 that while filming MrBeast's $10,000 Every Day You Survive prison challenge, he was told by MrBeast's team that the bright lighting in the room must remain on to ensure maximum quality for their time-lapse shots. This took a toll on Jake's body, as nearly every day he only could manage to get a few hours of sleep.
And I go up to my friend, my good friend, and I go, they're not turning the lights off. He goes, what? That's a war crime. We're not allowed to do that to terrorists. Oh, good.
MrBeast would make an offer to him a few weeks in for an additional $10,000 to run a marathon. Jake would initially decline, but felt pressured by MrBeast to accept the offer. So he did.
When I got off the treadmill, the blisters I had on my feet were like, you wouldn't believe, just all over, just these big red. I couldn't walk. My muscles were like just the lactic acid.
Not long after, MrBeast's team would pull the plug on the challenge, as they saw the amount of distress they had already put Jake through.
He was sitting in the chair, turned around like an evil villain. Swear to God, everyone was looking at me, and he was like Lex Luthor over there. He turns around, he stands up. He does the exact same thing when he's pretending to have a human connection. You know when you're watching a video, and he's like, oh, stop, you're gonna make me cry. And he like touches his eye or whatever as if he's crying. He says as if rehearsed by his lawyers. Yeah, your mental health's the most important thing. Just want to make sure you're okay. And the last thing we want you to do is, I can almost hear the word Sue come out of his mouth. The S. He just stopped right before it got out.
Dude, this whole video is so, I think, worthy of watching over there. Both videos, honestly, if you really want to get a deep down as to why. Now I'm way more invested, because I saw someone else say it. He's really gotten to our kids' heads. It's true. All these kids are now defending it. No, MrBeast can do no wrong, Kim. MrBeast is charitable. MrBeast is real. His videos are real. Look, he's always running into people and giving them money. And that's the scary thing about this. That's the scary thing. And it's like, it's on me. It's like, as a parent, why'd you let your kid watch so much MrBeast? Is going to be the fair argument. But at the same time, it's like, we assume that YouTube, their number one channel and biggest drawer, isn't doing this manipulation and exploitation at this level. And that's why I think this conversation is so important. Why isn't YouTube saying anything? I mean, they're complicit, right? Kim is the ultimate reason. And now things are getting even more intense. The biggest reveal at the end of part 2 is the fact that MrBeast knew, seemingly, that he hired someone who, I can't even say what he did, guys. You can see it there on screen. But convicted. An 11-year-old. This man was convicted. Now,
and I want to stress that means convicted, not accused. Convicted. It's not up for debate. He is a registered SO. There is no reason that he should have been employed at a company that markets to children and potentially been in the vicinity.
100%.
That's
And now
wild.
his brother, who's been out there, you know, anyway, now is all defending his brother, who's this guy in question, and has now made a full statement, which is, you can, actually, let me make sure I have the full one. I think I sent it to you as well. I want to get
you did.
so
You
guys,
sent it to me.
You can see it. This is the statement that is now from his brother, who basically confirms, and I can't imagine that MrBeast team's going to like this, or anybody really is going to like this. But here he is. Yes, Delaware is my brother-in-law. Yes, he is a RSO. When he was 21, and a 16-year-old accused him and others of SA when she was 11. Delaware took a plea deal. That's why there was no jail time. He was still convicted, however you want to justify it. That's a real bad plea deal to take, but he still had to register. Oh, well, it was just semantics, guys. His nickname isn't Delaware because he can't go back to Delaware. That's what they said. Well, his name's Delaware because he can't go back to Delaware. That was the joke that the worker said. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's been back several times. Oh, okay, great. Well, whatever. But anyway, he does say he was hired before I was, and was actually the reason I got hired by MrBeast. Before being hired, Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Jimmy's mom and explained to them everything. So yes, Jimmy knew. So like, regardless of what else he wants to defend about his convicted brother, whatever, it's hard to take anything seriously from this guy. Obviously, his complete bias here. I can't take this guy seriously because the guy's clearly a registered offender of an age that's like, you can't, there's no defense of any age.
No.
But at that age, my God, it's like, hang him, bye, go get out of here. And the reality is, Jimmy knew. His brother's now confirming. Yeah, they knew. Not only Jimmy knew, but his mom knew. So why aren't we talking about this? This is now, Kim, this isn't about like, there's plenty of stuff to talk about, from the illegal lotteries to the mistreatment to the whole Ava Tyson thing, which I don't even need to really get into. That's a whole nother scary part of it. There was a whole Discord server where one of his best friends was doing a lot of bad, inappropriate, disgusting stuff, sharing images, always downplayed. Jimmy had always defended this person. But now comes fast forward, all these messages are leaked from the Discord servers. And yes, this guy is disgusting. The awful stuff that they're doing in the presence of these kids. MrBeast was also aware, was also engaging a lot of these comments in that time. And the excuse is, oh, well, Jimmy was younger back then and now he knows better. Okay, whatever. Well, you knew better now to hire this guy. You knew better when you're offering these illegal child lotteries. You knew better when you're faking all this stuff. You knew better. What's constant excuses, because now he's in bed with Amazon. Now he's YouTube's #1 channel. So why would this guy feel like he needs to take any damn accountability when he can go out there and do whatever the hell he wants, Kim? That's the scary part, right? And you brought it up. You're like, I don't even know what to cover, because the Colleen Ballinger issue where they suppressed all of that. She's still on YouTube. She's still posting things like nothing matters when she did some pretty awful stuff herself. What do we do as people who are upset about this to try to actually get some change? And I don't know what that change is. Like, I want this to be properly investigated, right? MrBeast says he's hired third parties to investigate, but it's clear it's his own lawyers. These aren't actual third parties who are going to do anything. They're going to help him cover it up or do what he's got to do to keep the MrBeast brand thriving. So what do you think we should do, Kim? What is something the audience can do to rally up and say enough is enough?
I think, honestly, one of the most powerful things that you can do in a situation like this, and I saw it with, as we called her, ukulele lady, because there was a while I couldn't even say her name without there being issues with the algorithm, was that parents didn't believe that it was serious. They didn't believe that, they were like, oh, it's just stupid internet drama. None of it's real. They're just jealous because this person has had success and they have money. And then you have all these other YouTuber people around them that weren't as successful. So they're bitter and they want to take somebody down. And they get into that type of a mindset. And also because they don't want to break their kid's heart because they know that their kid really idolizes this person. I think it's amazing that a lot of kids now, if you ask them what their dream job is, it is to be a YouTuber. And they look at people like MrBeast and go, that's the dream. That's the goal. That's what I want to be when I'm a grown up.
Hey guys,
So
keep going.
When the Colleen stuff came out, what I started seeing was that people that were making exposed videos on her. The people coming forward and saying what happened, the things. One of the, sorry, I'm tripping over my words. One of the individuals that I believe was treated horribly by Colleen was actually sent underwear by her when he was underage. Things like that. As soon as parents started seeing those things, they started sharing it like wildfire. And then all of a sudden, parents went, oh, and they started to get it. The fact that this man, that MrBeast, has hired an RSO at his company should be enough reason for everyone to go, I'm done. I'm done. And I don't quite understand how people are defending this, because I would say if you are defending an RSO, you may want to reevaluate your priorities. There's some concerns there because there's a lot of talk in our culture today about protecting kids. I guess unless it's people that, you really just want to be okay. It's not the reality.
Or unless they make you a lot of money.
Yeah. So, yeah. Some of the people in chat right now, side eye, big time.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, that's what's so
disturbing.
scary about this. Rosanna did a video, another great video you guys should check out. I was trying to find the specific part, but she just talks about the bigger problem. There's so many levels to why this is a problem and how he's exploiting these people who just need something. A lot of these contestants and apparently this Amazon game and everything else were like, I can't pay my health insurance, so I need to do this to win, to support this problem, which is like the number one thing that so many people go bankrupt for. And so he's exploiting these people like, hang out there longer. MrBeast. Will you get your health insurance? It's just sick, man. And it's like the Ellen DeGeneres of it all, where everyone got so fed up because she wasn't nice. Well, this is like 10 times worse because he's actually advertising to kids and he's doing it to exploit it for his kid audience and raise his kids off of this weird niceness that we all united to say, Ellen, you're trash. The way you've been sort of behind the scenes, just a jerk to everybody. Like that, it's so clear the parallel between these two stories. And I'm shocked at how many people are just sort of like, it's cool, whatever. Jimmy's fine. What's the big deal? It's just like every other TV, yada, yada, yada. I just wholeheartedly disagree. And it's clear we're just on the tip of an iceberg. And there was a leaked letter to his staff that it very clearly to me seems, let's see if I can really find it too. I just don't believe it was leaked. It was on purpose leaked is what I'm trying to say, because it's attempting to make Jimmy look like he's trying to help. Here it was from Drama Alert, confirmed real email. This was apparently an email that was leaked to staff where we're hiring a new chief officer and there'll be training and now listening sessions. And I'm optimistic about the country's future. And as a leader, I take responsibility. I'm committed to continue to improve and evolve our leadership style. I've been focused on creating content and launching Feastables, building our community. I recognize that I also need to create a culture that makes all our employees feel safe and allows them to do their best. Yeah. He's saying all this because a lawyer wrote this. And it's to me like a little too late. And I don't buy it. There's so much more that needs to be done, and he needs to address this publicly. And in these videos from Dogpack, he alleges that that he has been alerted, and he has been waiting on how to respond because they're still very worried about what else Dogpack's gonna reveal. That's the other thing that's very fascinating about this. Rosanna confirmed this as well. He's got his own little sort of minions out there trying to infiltrate and figure out what's part 2, what's part 3, does he know this, does he know that? And so they're all very nervous and worried about how to respond because they're trying to figure it out. And I gotta be honest, as somebody who has dug his own grave a little in the past and lied and been caught, Kim, and done it, when you have to run that kind of like, shit, what do they know type of thing, chances are you got to own up and take the accountability to it. This isn't some just like he said, she said, or anything. It's sort of smaller scaled grievance. This is a huge issue and a huge corporations that are aligned with you. You need to come clean and be transparent about what's going on when such issues as you're hiring somebody who's a registered offender. That you got to address it, brother. Why are we not talking about this? You're just going to play like that's not a thing? Like, I'm sorry, that in itself is a big issue. The Ava Tyson thing is a massive issue, which he's now come forward and acknowledged was wrong. He's doing his independent investigation. But is that independent investigation actually going to be fair? Are you covering up your own involvement? Were you aware as well? And all these child lottery things, which is another big thing to me, which I had a big problem.
To do their cart. We'll give 2 orders $500 each. 5 minutes, someone's getting $3 grand in their order. In 5 minutes, we're gonna do the same thing again. We're gonna put $1,000 in a random order. 2 minutes, newest order gets $2,000. Good luck, everybody.
So this was a 6-hour live stream. They took it down off YouTube, but 5 hours of it are still up on their Facebook page. And during those 5 hours, I counted 46 illegal lotteries.
It's imperative you just sort of get what's happening here. They're preying on these kids who are dying to get an autographed MrBeast shirt, but then also constantly throughout the shows being told, you could win a Lamborghini, you could win $10,000, you could win this, we're going to give another one, so da-da-da-da-da-da. This is a scam. And he knew it. This is like the biggest, dumbest scam online. PewDiePie, a lot of others have called it out for what it is. This is nonsense. And he did it to grow up and get to that way of, you want something cool? You want a new car? You want money? You want cash? It's all just a scam to get people excited and make him seem like a big deal. And it's shady. And on top of that, the autographed shirts they were selling, he proved were signed by his own friends. They weren't even signed by MrBeast. They were literally forging his autograph onto these shirts that I'll buy a shirt and I'll sign it. And he wasn't signing them. His friends were signing them for him. It was all just a scam to get more subscribers and more stuff. So my point is, there's so many things that are building up in his past. And now reports, and a lot of YouTubers are proving it, he's deleting things like crazy. Old streams, old videos, old comments, completely covering up as much as he can, going back. He's probably hired a team, Kim. I wouldn't be surprised because this guy's got money. I'm sure he's hired firms or teams to go back and literally erase and remove as many things from the past that he remembers or that they're scouring for via keywords, AI, whatever, to sort of help to try to cover up a lot of this. Now, it's clear Dogpack and others have saved a lot of stuff, so we'll see if that actually matters, but it's just telling that he's out there trying to save face. And look, there is a part of me that's like, okay, some of these things are rigged or whatever. The truth is, Kim, most of Hollywood sadly is that way. So why are we singling out MrBeast is an argument that I'll hear out, and we could talk about it. As someone who was on Wipeout, I can tell you the contestant after me died. Like, no joke. It was awful what they did. Now, they had a pre-existing condition. I think they ultimately settled and did some big lawsuit from what I gathered from insiders out, because I was there and was able to sort of gather more intel than most. Probably not allowed to talk about it. I don't care anymore. That show's not even on. It's been on multiple networks. But from what I could gather, there was some big deal, and that's why that the wife of the husband, who they had just gotten married, he died on the show, I think got a huge payday from whether it was the insurance or ABC or whoever to sort of just be like, shut up. Sorry. We probably should have done better check. It was a pre-existing condition. And now it's sort of been dusted away like many of these shady things do, right? But I can tell you from my own experience, they didn't give a shit about our contestants. They didn't give a shit about your health. They wanted you to get hurt. They wanted you to be out of shape. The doctors that sent me in, which I knew, I'm not playing victim here of it, but I'm just showing you the point of like these shows prey on these people to go get big reactions and look awful and do it. And I knew that, but the doctor literally knew I was out of shape, Kim. I breathed into the thing and I couldn't keep the ball up because it's like one of those things where you're supposed to maintain the ball at a certain level to show your endurance or like whatever. I couldn't do it. The doctor literally goes to me, well, you're going to work out before then, right? It sounds like you're going to get in shape. I'm like, yeah, cool. And stamped it and let me go. It was so shady. It was so shady.
That's great.
And I was cool because I wanted to do it. I wanted to do the big balls. Like, I was aware it was a risk. I hurt my leg on it. I was on crutches for months after. At the end of the day, though, my point is, yes, this happens, but then you pay these lawsuits, everything else. The difference to me between Wipeout, which seems obvious that, yeah, they're making fun of contestants who are falling over. The difference between that is he's not selling this as Wipeout where he's laughing at everybody and it's not about it. He's positioning himself as this big charitable guy. He's YouTube's #1 channel that kids are obsessed with. He's raising a generation of kids and we're doing nothing about it. We're just letting him get more and more. And the creators are afraid and terrified to say anything because they don't want MrBeast to shade them. They want to be able to collab with them. They don't want YouTube to shade them because, oh my God, YouTube makes so much damn revenue off of this guy. It's insane. They literally create new features of the channel based on what MrBeast wants. MrBeast, I remember a quote, Kim, it made me so frustrated. I could create a channel tomorrow without my brand or even my voice, and I'd have 50 million subscribers within a month because of all I know about YouTube. Like, this dude has become the top dog, like, insider guy, and it's clearly gotten to his head. This is what I wanted to also focus and talk about, because it's like the MrBeast syndrome. Like, he is to me, he has become the YouTube algorithm. He has defined what now content is for a lot of creators, what kids will watch. And I can't fault him for all that he's built. Bravo, you've built an empire, you've built a brand, you've paid attention. You're clearly a smart business guy. I'm not trying to dispute or deny any of that. But the problem is, when you're an unknown, you're a guy from the bottom who then immediately zooms to the top like that, you can lose focus and in your path on what's actually right and wrong. You will step on people, you will do shortcuts, you will do whatever you can in YouTube's environment where they don't really have the same sort of laws and rules and unions and stuff that productions and ABC and CBS have. And you will cut those corners, and you'll do anything to beat that algorithm, to get to the top, to get the views, to make more money, to do it all. And that's the problem. I think while I applaud his success because he's massively successful, I can relate in a way, Kim, when I was at my Defy Media days and I watched all those creators and the environment that we had of what you had to do, who you had to step on to win at all cost. It doesn't matter. Using employees, doing all this stuff, that it became part of the mantra. And I got sucked in and just bought it all because I thought that was the way. Meanwhile, I was taking advantage too. My own brand of Honest Trailers ripped and stolen from me and still being beaten to death by my old colleagues because they have no other creative bone in their body. But that's what they did. They swoop in and wine and dine these creators, steal their shit, and then get them to get accustomed to, well, we can't pay that guy anything. No, just pay them a day rate, take all their ideas, and move on to the next thing. And that sort of just became the mantra over there and for a lot of these companies. And so when you don't know better, sure, I understand why he could have fallen his way. And I do think there's a path that I hope someone is able to break through to him and say, Jimmy, you're a talented, creative guy. I hope you don't mean to do these things that you've done, but you have been in a way groomed into this sort of way of power. And while I don't believe he's out there abusing people physically himself, he just doesn't realize the type of content and the thing he's built is built off of really shady, bad stuff. And he needs to be atoned for it, take accountability for it, reevaluate. And I think he could still be very successful. I have no doubt. But until we demand this accountability and he faces this and we actually have proper investigations to look into the wrongdoings and take care of your damn crew. There was a story came in the video. I know you didn't get to watch it all, but this guy, I forget his name, the person who worked for him in part 2. Sorry. He told this such a sad story where he went in and he was just like, I need more money. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. And his other employee, his friend who had a family, he brought him in too. And he was like, look, he's not even complaining, but he feels the same way. And he's got a kid at home. And he's like, look, we want to be paid. And they presented all this evidence of sort of what writers at this level, at everywhere else, streamers, channels, whatever, net unions get paid, and how they were trying to get like at least a portion of something like that, given all the revenue that they knew that was coming into the company. And he's like, even screw me, like my friend who has a kid, he should be paid. And this guy, Jake, is like literally crying while telling this story. This guy has clear PTSD. It's so evident from the way he's telling a story. It's erratic, it's all over the place. He's a comedian trying to awkwardly laugh at times. But in watching this, I was invested and just completely bought this guy's story. It's heartbreaking when you watch it all. And he's more emotionally upset because he's like, when I did that, I didn't know. I was ready to leave. I was like, oh, great, you're going to give me a severance and I'm done working for this monster? Great. But they fired his buddy too, who had a kid and was screwed. Just like that. Oh, you guys want money? You're out. Next, we'll find two people who will appreciate the abuse we're putting them through. You're not getting shit. Doodles. And it was the manipulation level of abuse, emotional abuse. It was horrifying, Kim. Did you get to see that part? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I did. I did see that part. And I think just two things. Actually, in our chat, Andy, I just brought one of the comments I sent you earlier down to the bottom. And I'd love to be able to talk about this if it's okay. But I really get this feeling that the culture within MrBeast is really the heart of this problem. Because when you work in a business where if you speak up about something that is unjust, and the response is, well, we're gonna let you go because you called us out on something wrong, and we're gonna get rid of the other person, and that's on you now. What does that tell the other writers? What does that tell the other staff? You work for a business that only yes is the only appropriate answer. That's it. You have to, it's jump how high. You cannot question. And that is in itself like mentally and emotionally abusive. And one of the things that we saw in one of the videos we watched with someone who used to work with him was just this idea of how everybody just looks at him like a god.
Yeah.
And
they lift him up on a pedestal and all these Amazon contestants are supposed to cheer. Yay, Jimmy!
And the thing is, someone running a business fueled by fear is not something to look up to. And it's not something that we should be telling our kids to aspire to be. Because those types of businesses, yeah, for short term, you could get a lot of good success. You could push people hard. But eventually, people figure it out. Your pool gets smaller and smaller and smaller of people who will be willing to tolerate that type of behavior. And eventually, the lawsuits will come and you will self-implode. You cannot have a business that operates purely on fear. And that is what I am seeing over and over and over again as these ex-employees talk. Does that make sense, Andy?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes, I want to. Here's that part you queued up. I was just getting it ready for you.
And presided over the field as the first scenes of the competition were filmed in the stadium. Contestants described how he had stepped out of the shrine-like structure and onto a platform above $5 million in cash as they were instructed to cheer. Quote, "We're all just looking up at the sky, screaming at him like he's God," one contestant said. Guards dressed entirely in black, complete with face coverings, flanked the field. A psychologist also introduced himself to the competitors at the outset, explaining that health and safety were priorities on set. Several participants recalled. Reached by phone by the Times after the games, that psychologist declined to comment on the event. In what world is one psychologist enough for 2,000 people?
None.
When I went on to a reality game show years ago, this is over a decade ago, there was 10 women and we had one psychologist. Just so you guys can kind of compare, several contestants said that when they had sought out production staff members for assistance with medical care, food, and hygiene issues, the staff members were often not helpful and appeared disorganized. Some staff members yelled and cursed at contestants, one participant said. Sorry if you guys hear snoring, my dog just fell asleep and I don't have the heart to wake her up.
I think
They
that
just
kind of
look
sums
so
it
cute.
up. Again, just you can't bring concerns forward. You're ignored. If you're on any of these challenges, your medical care is neglected. And I understand there's some people that are like, yeah, well, it's a competition and it's going to get hard. Well, if you cannot make sure that your diabetic contestants get their insulin, maybe you shouldn't be bringing on diabetic people. You make that decision when you choose to hire those people. You have to create a safe work environment. Period. It's really not that difficult. And just the fact that they made him a shrine and had him come out and be like, you all need to cheer for him coming out of the shrine. Like,
well, but
cult
again,
vibes,
it's just,
man.
it's the
crazy.
That's the persona that these kids have. That's what they do. That's why I think people aren't really. They're underestimating how big he is, how much he's looked up to, and how much he's created that sort of style to these younger audiences, which he's admitted is way lower than YouTube's even is supposed to allow. But they come in with their parents' accounts. He knows it. YouTube knows it. They do nothing about it. And he's created this whole culture of not only just the like and subscribe, which is everywhere all over. I can't just blame that for him, but this sort of need for the extreme and the cars. Like he's even acknowledged he wanted to re-edit his videos because they were too extreme and cut. And he decided like later on when he was finally successful, I don't need to keep doing that. He did it in the first part because he was just trying to scream and grab and steal all everyone's new ADH attention and just cars and explosions, blah, 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 blah. And now he's like, he wanted to be applauded, Kim, when he slowed them down and took more time to tell the stories. And it was like, wow, yeah, Jimmy, what a brilliant move. And no, this guy has always known exactly what he was doing. And again, part of me, like I said, kudos. You played the system, you played the algorithm. We're all attempting to do that from sometimes. But you're doing it to these kids, telling them it's all real, telling them you're so charitable. And the reality is there's videos where he's like, we're losing money on this. We're losing money on this. No, you aren't.
No, you're
you
not.
Scumbag liar. Don't you dare say you're losing money. You're making so much money off of your revenue and your sponsors and your Amazon deals. And I'm sure more we don't even know. You're making so much money that you can even afford to give away all the money you claim. And it's still a lot to take home. And you're clearly paying your staff shit. So again, you're making even more money, but then you're claiming nothing's fake. That's a lie. It's very clear. You just, and to be fair, most reality shows do, but competition reality shows aren't supposed to. There are rules, there are laws to that. So that's where things get more complicated. And then on top of this, you're literally you hired as they call it, a PDF, because we can't say the actual words here. You knew he was a registered SO. Now his brother's admitting it. And now Jimmy hasn't fully acknowledged this yet, but I'm waiting for it. You know your audience is for kids, and you hired a registered SO who I can't fathom this. On top of the Discord servers that were inappropriate with your coworker that you denied did anything wrong, always sort of, oh yeah, nothing wrong. You knew there was something wrong. And it wasn't until they got fully caught and then you were implicated in it that you finally made a statement and did something about it. That's when you did something. That's only when you do something, it seems, when you're actually against the ropes and caught and exposed with potential illegal and dangerous activity. Then you come forward with statements. Guys, no, this is ridiculous. There's enough now from these videos and more that are proving there is some very shady activities. There's some bad behavior. And it's again, because his audience is kids, this is why I'm really upset about it. He's getting kids to just learn how to gamble. There was another one here. Watch this. To really get a sense of Jimmy, watch where he brings in this guy for a collaboration.
Just all the ingredients are way higher quality. And it's infinitely better than the other options out there.
I got all the Feastable chocolates.
So he's claiming his chocolate is better than Hershey's. It's healthier. Bullshit. It tasted like crap. He then went and redid it. I know, because my kid likes MrBeast, and we tested it. Even my kid was like, meh. He then went and did another bar, still claiming it's healthy, Kim, but then it's actually worse than Hershey's.
Try them and rank them 1 to 6.
So here he brings in...
Totally not biased, because if it sells more, I make more money.
I'm going to be honest, and I hope Jimmy is sitting next to me and not getting his feelings hurt.
Compare it to her.
So watch this. He's trying to manipulate this whole interview where he's selling his gross chocolate bars to his audience.
Hershey's. It's our crunch bar.
Okay.
Compared to Hershey's. Did you bring a Hershey's? No.
You believe it?
Yes.
Not crazy, Jimmy.
No? You don't like crunch bars?
I do like crunch bars, but again, it's too sweet.
Let me try this. Maybe these are defective.
Oh my God,
this tastes good to me.
Wait, we're supposed to be ranking them. I rated the first one, so we're going completely off of.
Oh, well,
we're going completely off of.
We're in too deep. I rate this a 10 out of 10. I give this an 11 out of 10. Keep in mind, only 5 ingredients. Infinitely healthier for you than
Infinitely healthier? Infinitely healthier, you scumbag!
It's a superfood.
You're a con man just trying to get
ailments.
these kids diabetes.
Thing out there. Also my favorite so far.
Okay, here's the thing. I didn't realize you were a dark chocolate guy.
I'm not a super dark chocolate guy. I do love dark chocolate. I get it a 7.8 out of 10.
Okay, I'm starting to understand this man. Okay,
okay.
okay. I'm starting to figure this man out. You're gonna like this one, right? You like salt? I love the sea salt guy. I'm gonna get rid of these.
I love salt. No, I want the those.
No, you just don't. Trust me.
He literally won't taste them because he knows he's going to give them bad reviews. So he's like, never mind. You're not going to be my sycophant and just say whatever the hell I want?
You're a dark chocolate kind of guy. Yes. I can read the room. The room is red.
Now,
The room is red. I think we're all picking up on the social cues that are happening in that lovely clip. But again,
it's uncomfortable.
Like
and
I
you can
said,
freeze it too. I agree with this. It is a mask off moment.
Yep.
He's already filmed content with and promoted Keith at this point. Jimmy was definitely expecting a favorable review. In return, Jimmy is well aware of the law of reciprocity, uses gift giving as a business move. Here, though, Keith chose to maintain a level of integrity, give more honest review than Jimmy wanted. Personally, I think Jimmy undervalues his own integrity, but it's especially important for product reviewers because consumers are trusting these people to give unbiased purchasing advice. Jimmy clearly feels insecure, out of control, betrayed at times in this video, and reacts poorly. It's not fair for Jimmy to expect Keith to mislead his audience for Jimmy's profit. Regardless, Keith likely lost some career opportunities with MrBeast moving forward. Jimmy is a sellout and surround himself with yes men. I mean,
but again, Andy, like
I think
what
this
I
is
said
very
before,
accurate, Kim. What do you think?
Like this is the culture of fear, though, right? If you don't give me the answer that I want, then you're done. You have to tell me yes. You have to basically drink the Kool-Aid in a lot of ways to be able to stay. And he's so powerful. It's terrifying for these creators. And the way that he tries to manipulate and maintain control in the clip that we just watched is absolutely wild. It should be fine for him to be like, okay, it's not your thing. That's life. Not everybody's going to like your stuff, and that's okay. You know, why not get footage from people that love your product and use that? Why do you have to assert your power over other people to get the response that you want? That's where I kind of see it. There's something going on here. I'm not a doctor, but there's something going on here that's not right.
Well, look, I mean, here's he's now gotten his kids. He's gotten kids.
Also,
there's no cool music. Anyway, let's gamble.
Also,
So in order to buy more Feastables, when you buy your Feastable bars, you might win cash, guys, and all these thousands of dollars of prizes, most of which were all coupons for his crappy Beast Burger, which that's a whole nother awful, disgusting, just cash grab he did, or discounts for more chocolate, all in the guise of buy more, and that's what this was. He talks about how the employees at MrBeast, himself included, were like, I feel like we're less about a chocolate company and just a ticket fulfillment system where you're getting them to gamble and buy more chocolate bars. And they're like, ha ha ha, yeah. He's like, he said, feels like we're like 30% a chocolate company and 70% that. He's like, more than that. They knew at MrBeast that this wasn't about chocolate. This was about getting as many of our users to buy the chocolate as fast as possible on that guise of winning money. And my kid was guilty of it. I'm ashamed of it, Kim, but we got to buy these bars. We got to load up. We can win more. And I didn't know the extent. I wasn't paying attention enough on this, and I should have, and that's on me. I believe my kid's fine, and we'll get through it. In fact, I love that he's challenging. We get to have the debate, and he gets to learn the real truth about MrBeast. It's a learning experience. I hope other parents will start doing this with their kids. The reality, though, is he didn't make this to be a good, healthy chocolate bar. He wanted to exploit his kid audience. It's the same thing Logan Paul's doing with Prime. Prime tastes like piss. I'll say it. Prime is like the worst drink I've ever had. And I like sweet Gatorade drinks, Kim. I can't tell you. The one that's better, and I'm going to say this fairly, they're not paying me, Messi's Moss. It is so much better than Prime, but Prime's now all jealous. Like and Moss is actually healthier for you. If you look at the ingredients, Moss by Messi it's a little sweeter, but it actually rates higher without less processed crap that Prime has. Anyway, my point of bringing up Prime, just like Feastables, you'll notice that at Walmart's, they're just scattered down on shelves, unable to sell. They're at dollar stores because they can't. They made so much because the demand was so high in the beginning. And he, Kim, you saw the part, right? He literally was making his children audience apply to be shelf checkers of Feastables. Hey, want to work for MrBeast?
Go into Walmart, clean up my display, and maybe you'll be entered to like win money. Like literally like manipulating kids into doing child labor.
If you send me pictures of the shelves cleaned up with the Feastables and maybe push the Hershey's and other bars further away, like I think that's illegal. Oh, maybe you might win more free cash. Thanks, everybody. Like this is sickening, man. Some will say, oh, it's brilliant business. No, he's exploiting child labor. It's not right. There are laws in place to protect this. But apparently because he makes so much money on YouTube and now Amazon's in for the game, it's okay. We'll deal it. Like, look at this. Subscribe for a cookie. That's a lie. Where's my cookie? I've sadly been subscribed. I never got a free cookie, you liar. The whole thing's a scam, and it's dangerous. But beyond just the scams, the illegal lotteries and everything else, now we're learning there's actual bad intention, dangerous employees, chats, etc., workarounds, injured contestants. This isn't okay. Somebody needs to come forward and finally address us. And I get frustrated because there was a tweet. I'm going to end on this because I do have to wrap it up, Kim, because it's Meet the Teacher days for some of my kids. It's unreal, the defense that he's getting online. It's unreal. People don't even want to consider it. He's not your next Amber Heard. This is a nothing burger. He does far more good for the world than you ever will. Find another cash cow, Signore. Like, I find this hilarious because I'm literally going to lose money talking about this, Kim. Like, I'm literally going to lose money talking about this. People think I'm doing it for a cash cow. Well, of course, everything we do is views. That's sadly how YouTube works. But at the same time, I talk about stuff I'm passionate about, and I'm really worried about this because I think parents aren't in the know. And I know we have an older audience here of parents, and I want you guys to be informed of what to check out. And I think this is an important story that we should be following up on. Not anyone's doing it. And I think look, I'm not out there to try to cancel MrBeast. That's what's so frustrating. I just want accountability, and I want the truth as to what's actually happening here behind the scenes. What are his real intentions? Because he keeps trying to play himself exactly as this guy's. He's so charitable. Is he? Is he? Where's the money going? Because Dogpack has put together a thread, and apparently in a future installment, Kim, he's going to get more into that reality of, is he actually helping? Is what he's doing actually worthwhile and helpful, or is he misleading his audience there as well? There's a really fascinating thread on this where he breaks this down. I'm trying to find it for you here. It's in here. Widespread pollution of plastics and sociochemicals is the second largest issue facing him. He talks about this. He's gone through and he's tried to prove and show why Team C's, this charitable thing he does, how it's connected to Coke and how it's all just sort of a scam to try to get himself to look better. And so, look, the reality is, like, why are we not asking these questions? We should be. Where is the money actually going? Just because you say you're taking away this stuff from the seas, well, then where's it going next? Because it's just going to get blown back in the ocean again later. So is this really the best use of our funds and the charity? These are valid questions. Thank you guys so much for watching. There's a lot we unpacked there. I don't know if I kept the full video, but if I didn't, make sure to check the full stream out or just join to support what we're doing because YouTube's not going to like this. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell for alerts, hit the sub, hit the like, leave a comment, and do it for Kim as well over It's Kim. You can click our link trees, find ways to support. We appreciate all you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. There's another video I'm going to premiere right next, so stay tuned. Go support me over on Palace. It's a good one. I appreciate you guys so much. Stay tuned for more here on Popcorn.